I'm Father Odomaro Mubanjizi. I work with the proposed Hekima University in charge of academic affairs. First of all, it is a great relief to see this book. I highly recommend it, of course. It has covered almost all of the major branches of theology. It's almost a syllabus by itself. So this is a big compliment. I'm curious. The illustration is a tree, and we had Laudato Si as a signature letter by Pope Francis. I would wish that the speakers comment a little bit. Is our approach in theology still too anthropocentric, and we are forgetting Mother Nature, which is also a victim of the very processes we are discussing of exclusion? Can you also talk about working with Mother Nature? And I think each of the speakers is free to comment on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Odo. Kevin?
Thank you, Prof. Mine is not a question, but a suggestion. Following the sad lines that bishops talked about, synodality as such will never get roots until it takes pastoral perspective. Because as we can see, it is just like it's not just remain in academic spheres, but in the ground, as we say in Kenya, there's nothing going on. Therefore, I want to request our principal that one of the areas of collaboration as a Hekima University College is also sometimes you go back to the field. Maybe the friendly bishops who understand, who has got a heart for the church, organize these seminars, workshops with the priests. When we wait to organize at the national level, sometimes it may not work because some of the bishops not want. But if as a team, as a one way of also marketing the university, now that we were looking for the charter, and the charter will look with the numbers, it's good that sometimes we can organize. And here it's very good because even scholastics here can teach very well. I've seen them in class. You can just go, and if you can get sponsored, because sometimes it requires money, some of the team can just go and talk about these things to the priests within the diocese. Because I remember last 2 years when I was the parish, a Messiah Secretariat only begged the parish priest to read the document and summarize in their own words, and nobody could take that. But I'm proud because I ate 10,000 from the Messiah, because they said priests who can organize, parish priests who can summarize the documents, they give in their own words, they give 10 words, and they gave me 10,000.
So let me say Kevin Ochong is one of our students at the master's program, STL, and you can see what Hekima does to their students. So as I say, it's he's marketing us also by actually being very analytical. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very much, contributors, for your sharing. My question also is in reference to what you have shared and touched, and partly Kevin has also shared on it. Partly in our department, that is pastoral theology, we have what we call pastoral outreach. And this pastoral outreach has told us that the spirit of synodality is not really accepted in some of the parishes. And we had a lot of interactions, sharing during the synodal process. Does it mean that it was just like water being poured on a stone, or it was just like a fun during those interactions, or what? And what can we do really more to let the spirit of synodality touch the hearts of people, and especially the leaders in some of the parishes? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mary. Dr. Mary is a lecturer at the Pastoral Practical Theology Department. May I request the contributors to be very brief so that each one of you perhaps could say something, and then we take another set of questions. The IT, may I know if there are questions online that we can read? Otherwise, I'll give them a chance to ask a question. Please, Ene, I think myself there was a question directly to you. If you like, you can begin.
Thank you very much. There's a question from Odomaro. I think if I listened carefully and we haven't really shown how the book looks, because we have an event for that if you notice. But Dr. Kaurem, I think, did speak about caring for the common home, like our common home. That's one of the chapters that specifically deals with that question. If we say to be human, it's fundamentally to be synodal, we work with nature, our own nature. And actually, deteriorating nature is like deteriorating the ground on which you stand. And so there, I actually, I would like to often hear more confessions about our destruction of our common home when I sit in the confession, and do the same as well from my side. There is more we can do on that. But Dr. Kaurem, I'm sure he will say more. Let me go to what can we do, and I think this can cater to Father Kevin and even Dr. Wambua. At the heart of the African Synodality Initiative, really we realize that this is with Dr. Roberto, with Kavita, with Vandanu, with Kaurem, and we went to different places for formation. We realize there are many fears, sometimes unjustified, just fear of change. And the people who are often obstacles, let me put it clearly, the most people who are obstacles to synodality are priests. And I say that I am a priest. So it's not because I'm not in a choir, I am a priest, and I am happy being a priest. But I think we are obstacles. There is a need of conversion. And once we don't have that, even especially those of us teaching in a college like this, or even in a seminary, it trickles down to the seminarians. So the development of a pocket manual, maybe this is even an occasion to showcase what Synodal Initiative has done, African Synodality Initiative, was really to have a simple yet deep book that you can use in different seminaries or even in pastoral circle, so that people know. Anthony Egan has a chapter here on synodality and ecumenism. And then Leonida Katunge, listening with an open mind and heart. And then working together as companions in Ecclesion, the 10 points that Bishop Rodrigo mentioned from Pope Francis. Dr. Kaurem and Nora Nontera on responsibility for our common mission and home. Rope on leadership, inclusion, and participation. But sometimes as soon as you mention this word synodality, some people say, that's the thing of Francis. I just wonder why that indifference, not in an Ignatian sense, comes from. Without the risk of being pessimistic, I think probably we don't pray a lot.
Okay, thank you.
So that's one. Then secondly, we did not end there. We then started formation in seminaries, because we realized the best way of having a changing of mindset and style is to go to the seminary. We went to South Africa, we went to, I think, Ghana, I was in Nigeria, we were in Uganda. Actually, next month we will be in Uganda, then we will be in Liberia, and we actually have developed a syllabus for seminary formation. So for the rectors of RECOA, we propose them a syllabus that can be used as an elective or a seminar for seminaries. As a way of really, maybe the priests today may not like it, but at least those being formed can be learned to be synodal. And then, remember, in 2026, in 2 years, we will be correcting the fruits of this synodal journey. What will Africa present? At least now we can say, together with Stanley Ilo, so we don't claim to be alone, and others, now this book is part of that journey. And so there is more to be done, and I will quote Professor Kani. Recently, he was in Ikisi interviewing small Christian communities. There were many leaders in the Christian community, and then even some women, and one of the women raised her voice and said, this project of synodality you talk about is wonderful. where we listen to one another, where there is a shared responsibility, where the priest is not the accountant. But when is it coming here to Kisii?
Thank you, Dr. Marcel.
So just to show
Uwineza.
challenges, but we need to do more. Thank you very much.
The topic is becoming very interesting. Dr. Kaulemu, please.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to share, as you know, a small story of our going to Nigeria and meeting the Maris. You know, they were coming from all over the world, and they wanted to understand what this synodality means. And when we asked them, do you know what synodality means? Half of them said they had no idea. But when we went through and we experimented with saying, suppose you looked at synodality from the Marian spirituality which you are part of, what would it look like?
Yes.
By the end of the conference, they were saying we started synodality before Pope Francis had proposed it. So sometimes I think what is important is to appreciate what we already have and to find opportunities of actually showing that we already have synodality. What we need is to widen it and to deepen it. That's what I wanted just to share, and I think Kavita and Ndanu really, got some surprises because we were now being taught what it means to be synodality from a Marian spirituality.
Thank you, Dr. Kaulemu. Dr. Chijoke, please.
Thank you very much. Just what has been said with regards to the engagement of the people at the grassroots, okay, with our synodality. Even here in Nigeria, there isn't much action happening on the ground. And sometimes it seemed like it was an intellectual engagement, okay? And someone actually said to me recently that we're discussing about our possible themes for a conference. And I mentioned that synodality, and someone said, we've exhausted that topic. And I'm thinking, when did we begin that we've already exhausted that? But I think more has to be done to get the people to participate, the people on the ground to participate. That is one. Two is just a little bit of speak into the question or comment that Dr. Odmaro was by. So it's an honor to have him. And let me just speak a little bit to an intersection sort of from synodality and Laudato Si. I think we could look at that from different angles, but one of the things to point out is that one general theme could be seen holding the two of them together, and that is the necessity of an integral ecology, okay? Necessity of an integral ecology that should be primary in the way that the church goes on with synodal church. So if we consider the word our common home, right, and then the church that is on a synodal journey is also called to take care of this home in a way that it goes beyond just the human persons and human bodies that inhabit this home. Like what Maro said, okay, trees, inanimate beings, and all of those. So I think just to say that integral approach to looking at ecology is central to how the church, a synodal church, should approach the Laudato Si. And when Pope Francis talks about the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor, well,
we seem to have lost you.
That, mentions that the cry of the poor, the people of the world, the cry of those in the church. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there is a problem in connection. Maybe what we will do is I'll give a chance to Dr. Rob, and then I'll bring you back in the second set of questions. Dr. Rob, please proceed.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
For me, I would say that the hesitance to appreciate synodality comes from fear, a fear of unknown, and maybe people don't understand what it is. It has been long, as Father has given, that when people work together. But when we reflect here in Africa, it's something that we understand, and something that when our people are told and they get to know what synodality is, they appreciate, and they are ready to engage in it and work together as all people of God. Maybe one of the fear is also to rock status quo. People would like to, especially the priests, the clergy, the bishops, they would like to remain where they are, their position where they are. And they feel that some people are coming to, to take from them the privileges, maybe if there are, that they have. But I want to believe that being the book, as you have seen, the tree, as you say, Mother Nature, is actually the church that nurtures, the church that relational, the church that appreciates all our children as a mother does, that we are interconnected, a tree that needs the roots. If you cut the leaves, the branches, the tree will die. We need all members of the church, and it gives nutrients, the roots, the gospel of Jesus Christ planted in Africa. We need that to flourish so that some people can find shade, some can find medicine, some can find fruit in this tree. And I think for us in Africa, it's something that we should really take to our people so that they can appreciate. One of the ways we can do this is to have the universities, and maybe we have a day or something that we can come and talk about synodality. Let people present papers and talk about how we can practically, take this to our people. One of the things when synodality came out, I wanted us to have inter-colleges, inter-universities, and I saw there was resistance, even at my place. So I wanted to push, because I had contributed in the book, but there was hesitance. And maybe people also fear, what will the bishop say? So we need to come out of that so that we have the courage to speak. This is our church, we are the church. And it is our time to really bring out the gospel of Jesus Christ. If we don't, who will? And if we live in fear, then it will continue. So we need to have courage, pray, the Spirit will help us so that we can go forward and really share the fruits of this synodality. And it is something like women, we need it. We need to speak. We have a lot, and the church can flourish if we can be listened to and make our own contributions.
Thank you, Dr. Rob. Dr. Egan.
On the question of synodality and the environment, it just strikes me that the process of producing Laudato Si involved a very synodal process, dialoguing with secular scientists and other people who were involved. And I would extend it further and argue that the most important dialogue partners are First Peoples, because they've learned to live on the land and not die. And I think that's a good sign, because they've learned to live with the land. On the question of resistance, I'd like to tell you the story of the first diocesan synod that I heard of in South Africa. It was hell. Priests had to talk to their parishioners. Old goggles in the countryside had to talk to seminary professors and university professors. And these, wealthy, middle-class, white Mzungu ladies had to talk to their housekeepers. And by the way, that happened in Durban in 1969 under the visionary leadership of the late, great Archbishop Dennis Hurley. You need leadership. That, I think, is what you need to overcome the fear and the resistance.